Belize, 5 weeks in about 5 minutes. We decided to go by water taxi rather than plane from Belize City all the way to Caulker. That takes 45 minutes. It's a great journey when the weather is fine, as it was for our journey to Caulker. Caulker is a laid-back sister of Caye, and this is where we stay for the next 6 days, the Barefoot Beach Hotel. 6 days of sitting around on the beach, watching the ospreys, and also drinking in the Lazy Lizard, a sunny place for shady people. Here are some of the shady people involved. It was a fabulous time. We spent actually more time than probably we should have done there. Almost every afternoon we visited and spent the afternoon there drinking rum punches. The weather wasn't always marvellous. At times the rain poured down, and I even went swimming in the rain. And when the rain came, though, we just all got onto the Wrigley tin and sheltered and had huge fun and drank even more. And so every afternoon was Lazy Lizard. We would then wander our way home back to Barefoot Beach in time to then sort of rest a little bit and then save up for the evening. This is Mandingo, who was our big chum, and we sort of befriended him therefore we met him almost every day. Occasionally bought him a drink, and here he then signed after we'd signed on the bar itself. The walk back home to the Barefoot Beach was through the graveyard, which was quite a treat, and of course the whole of Caulker is very laid back. It's a relaxed, enjoyable place, and it's just got dirt track as the main roads. Social Security is only open 1 day a week for 6 hours, which gives an indication, and at night time, nightlife is, well, kind of quiet. But it was a great 6 days, and we had so much fun, and of course the wildlife there was superb. There's an osprey bringing its catch home. But paradise has to end, and eventually we then leave Caulker. By now the weather is broken, and the journey back in an open boat was somewhat damp. Our case got absolutely soaked, and we found that our waterproof bag isn't that waterproof, and our clothes were pretty damp. 45 minutes back though to Belize City, and then pick up the hire car and along the road from Belize City past the capital Belmopan into San Ignacio and Bullet Tree Falls. San Ignacio is a great border town, lots of bustle, lots of excitement, and of course nearby are all the Mayan ruins. Zunan Tunich is probably the best known, and this is the way to get to it via the hand-operated ferry, which is free of charge, although the guy doesn't mind if you give him a tip either way. But once you get to Zunan Tunich, it's changed a lot. 20 years since we were there, they hadn't excavated quite so much as they have now. So if you can't afford to go to Tikal, Zunan Tunich and also Caye Pech and the other nearby Mayan ruins give you a really good indication of the Mayans and their ruins. The carvings are really rather fine. As you can see, it's kind of a grey day here. We could have done with a bit more sunshine, but even then the view from the top was pretty staggering across the jungles and way across towards the Gallon Jug and the trees and the hills of Guatemala. Staggering views across the countryside, and the important thing is, although it's grey, at least it was dry. And then back on the ferry, back onto the main road with Benque Viejo and the border of Guatemala only about 2 or 3 miles to your right, and the town of San Ignacio about 10 miles to the left. All Mayan ruins aren't like Zunan Tunich. Here's El Pilar, which is still got all the jungle surrounding it, but it gives you a really good indication of what it must have liked when the explorers arrived at Zunan Tunich and saw there here is a Mayan temple. Here you can see where the temple would be when all the trees and everything else was taken away. Another really pretty temple is Caye Pech on the outskirts of San Ignacio. This one is kind of halfway between El Pilar and Zunan Tunich. It's half excavated and half not, and it's lots of hills to climb and lots of good views from the top, and it's a nice, again, combination between the three of them, Zunan Tunich, Caye Pech and El Pilar. You get a really good indication of how the temples were laid out and the different sizes of them and how important the Mayans were in this particular area. Here are some leafcutter ants taken from the jungle floor. Our ATM cave trip was rather fun. When you leave San Ignacio, drive for an hour to the sort of entrance, and then you walk for another hour, fording rivers across the way, and also carrying your provisions with you for the whole day away. As I say, it takes about an hour to get to the actual site itself, and it's quite a good, fun walk. It's not too strenuous, it's on the level. This is not 3 rivers. We cross the same river 3 times because that's the way the track actually develops through the jungle. And after 1 hour, eventually we get to the actual site where we sit down and at this stage get the briefing from our guide and also have a chance to eat our lunch.
The name of the cave is Aktun Tumichil Muknau. That name was coined by Thomas Miller, and it translates to mean Cave of the Stone Sepulchre. The highlight of the activity today takes you up to this main in a dry chamber up a little ledge where there is an entire calcified human remain of a female, and she's lying on her back with her arms outstretched like this.
From now on, we leave everything behind apart from the things we absolutely need. Our waterproof stuff is in the bag with the guide, and we're into the caves. You swim in for the first 30 or 40 feet. It's about 12 foot deep, and once you're in, you then walk, swim, scrabble for the next hour and a little bit, really, before you eventually get to the dry section of the cave. Take your shoes off, and then you're shown around by the guide to the most amazing artifacts. It's really quite a privilege because in most parts of the world this would never be allowed. These are the original pots from over 1,000 years ago, left by the Mayans as part of their sacrificial items, and the fact that actually we can walk in amongst everything, and including, as you can see, the skeletons as well, is quite staggering. I've got a feeling that eventually somebody somewhere is going to say, this must stop, we can't have this. Yeah, everything must be taken out of the cave, and then you can go in the cave and have a look at it, but we can't leave all these valuable artifacts inside this cave. But every day about 30 or 40 people go to the cave with the guides, and this is the high spot of the whole trip, the Lady of the Stone Sepulchre, the skeleton of a young girl, and then back down through the cave in the dark, and then the river trip back for 1 hour again across the river. Our legs now are pretty tired, and then back home to San Ignacio. 90 minutes south of San Ignacio are the Rio on Falls, a great location normally heaving with people having picnics, but on a cold grey day in December we were the only ones there. But a striking place to be nevertheless. Everything must come to an end, and so we leave San Ignacio and head our way back into Belize City, and this time now to stay with our friends, the Geggs, who in the meantime, over the intervening 10 years, have done rather well for themselves. This is the front of the house, and then this is the back of the house facing the sea, and inside is equally as grand. When we knew them 12 years ago last, they were living in rented accommodation. They've obviously done rather well in the intervening decade. We had 5 fabulous days there, and as you can see, the sun also came out, and I had a chance to fish from the dock, but without too much success. Also visited their friends as well, and had barbecues. This is in the Caye district with the Robinsons. And on a good day, we went out with David and Debbie in their boat, and down to the Sibun River, and then the Northern Lagoon, which was a fabulous trip. It's about an hour's drive from their home on the outskirts of Belize City, down along the coast into the Sibun River, and then along the Sibun, as it's quite wide, and then getting narrower and narrower as we head through the canals, until eventually we get to the gap which takes us into the Northern Lagoon, and then a high-speed dash across the Northern Lagoon to this fabulous deserted beach where we had our lunch. Now, it's all part of a deal we were going there for, because David and Debbie were taking their boat to be met by another group of people coming the other way in this thing. It's an amphibious vehicle called a Stalwart, made in the UK by Alvis. And so we got into the Stalwart and then went along on the canals and eventually the tracks, while the people who came on the Stalwart, they went down to the boat and retraced the steps that we'd made across the lagoon and along the rivers back to Belize City. The Stalwart's an amazing vehicle. It's slow through the water, but very, very stable, and the advantage of being able to just drive out of the water onto the land, but more importantly, because it's got such a high freeboard and such a high clearance, it can cope with the most horrendous road conditions, which is what we experienced for the next 45 minutes. The journey home was via the coconut stand, where we got fresh coconut juice to drink, no rum this time to be added to it. Okay, we leave our friends now and we're heading south, down the Hummingbird Highway and the Southern Highway to Punta Gorda itself. We were staying at Hickory Lodge, and the owners of Hickory are also the managers of the Butterfly Farm.
7 days a week he collects leaf, and all the other workers on their way to work collect leaf for their particular species. Each man only works on a particular species of butterfly. The ones with yellow flashes are Uranus, and they are not friendly. You're taught in school, never handle butterflies.
Yes.
Rubbish. Twaddle. A butterfly can lose what, Sebastian? A third of its wing, and still fly and breed, and there was no problem as long as you know what you're doing.
Yes.
You grip all 4 wings to go. Sorry about my hand in the way.
That's all right.
No. And these are friendly guys. I mean, they're not afraid of anybody, of us. Yeah, it's looking good. And the other cage just as good?
Yeah.
The butterfly farm, if you can stay at Hecate, is definitely well worth doing, and it was one of the things that we did in the course of our 7 days down in the south of Toledo in Punta Gorda. This is the lodge we stayed at Hecate, and that's a rather fine suite. Punta Gorda is kind of a run-down basic town, but it's got a certain charm, especially when the sun comes out. This is a Garifuna village called Barranco, which again we had a fabulous day there, and we're shown around the Garifuna drums into the Garifuna lodge. This is the No-Sus Falls, part of the day when I had my accident, and this is the wibbly-wobbly bridge that I went across way beyond my comfort zone. Now you can see the bridge with Sue Ellen on it and me climbing the tree to get onto the bridge. The bird count took place in early January. We took part in it, and it was a good time really to be there, apart from the whole greyness of the whole proceedings. Punta Gorda, chocolate centre of the universe. On our way back from PG, we stopped at the Hokey Pokey water taxi. Well, you have to, don't you, really? And here is Dan Grieger, a great location, and the sun did shine for a couple of hours. A lot of the time, though, it just was grey and cold. Although the sun may have been cold, some of the hot sauce is truly, truly hot. On our way back, we stayed for one night in the zoo, which was amazing, in a fabulous lodge. And then we had a nighttime tour and saw all the nocturnal animals in their prime. Had a great overnight, only $70 for everything included, evening meal and breakfast. And then back into the zoo for the morning in daylight to see all the daylight animals. But if you haven't been, that's the lodge where we stayed at, overlooking the pond. But the Belize Zoo is a fabulous place to visit anyway, because it's all indigenous, all natural animals, and so well maintained and looked after. And here are some of the images from some of the animals we saw in the zoo. The day before we left, we went to Crooked Tree Wildlife Reserve, which was really well worth doing, about 30 miles north of Belize. And finally, zip lining, which is just so much fun.
I'm going to show with Hector what we're going to do, how we hook you up, how the setup of the police. We're going to put them one on each cable. Okay? Hook you guys up. I'm going to ask you to place both hands on this side of the cable and pull up. This way I can hook you onto your safety strap here. Then we have two extra slings. The gray one goes on the bottom, the green one goes on top.
Okay,